A very warm welcome everyone. Quite literally, because it has still not snowed in Kashmir. And today's Indian Express talks exactly about that. Why Kashmir and Ladakh have not received snow till now. In order to understand this concept, why it has not snowed in Kashmir right now, till now, we need to understand a few basic concepts. Let me guide you through all of them. The first basic principle that we need to understand is the nature of Earth's orbit. The Earth orbits around the Sun in an elliptical orbit. But is it always an eclipse? The Earth's orbit keeps fluctuating between an elliptical orbit and to a near circular one. Around 12,000 years ago, the Ice Age ended on Earth. Why? Because our orbit started coming a little closer to the Sun, gaining more heat. Naturally, every year is going to be a warmer one. Recently, another news was published that 2023 was the warmest year in the last 1 lakh years. No surprises, this cycle is 1 lakh years long. Anyway, let's understand what are the implications of the warming Earth. Is this the only factor that is leading to the warming Earth? How is it affecting the snowfall patterns across the world, not just Kashmir? In order to understand that, we are all aware about the pressure belt system of the Earth. Your entire North India, besides your entire Sahara belt, Saudi Arabia, even North America for that matter, all of these countries, all of these areas, Kashmir as well, it lies under the impact of the subtropical high pressure belt. Why is that significant? Because in the subtropical high pressure belt, air is sinking. Sinking air heats adiabatically. What do we mean by that? There are two processes, thermodynamic processes and adiabatic processes. Thermodynamic means we are adding or removing heat. In adiabatic, we are not adding or removing heat, but we observe a change in temperature. When air is sinking, it is coming closer to the surface of the Earth. As close as it gets to the Earth's surface, the mass of the atmosphere above it keeps on increasing. The closer air comes to the Earth, more is the atmospheric mass above it, exerting more pressure over it. The net heat per unit area keeps on concentrating, heating it adiabatically. Which is why sinking air in your subtropical high pressure belt heats adiabatically. As if that was not the only case. Sinking air is heating, that is already a fact. The air which is sinking right now is already warm because of the Milankovitch cycles, because of all our different patterns observed across the world. We are all aware about El Nino and La Nina. They are nothing but one cycle, not even the biggest cycle on Earth. Cycle of oscillation of warm waters across the Earth. Your cycle of oscillation of a central and South Atlantic, El Nino, La Nina. Oscillation of warm water in your North Pacific, Pacific decadal oscillation. In your Indian Ocean dipole effect. Your Pacific, your Atlantic Ocean, Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation. Right now, the thermohaline circulation of the world is at its weakest, almost 90% weak. And most of the scientists across the world are saying that it may stop completely in 2025. Yes, by next year, according to most scientists. What is the impact? Since the ocean circulation is weakening, the water is moving much slowly. The slower it moves, the longer it stays under the sun, more the heat absorbed by it. Warm water will cause more evaporation. More evaporation means more water vapor in the air. More water vapor in the air means more greenhouse gas in the air. As if that was not the case, water vapor is constantly being added. Warm surface means the air above it is also warm. Warm air has more moisture carrying capacity. More moisture can be absorbed. More moisture in the air means more heat the moisture can absorb, giving that warm air even a more warmer characteristic. So the air masses present on our warm water bodies are exceptionally warm. They have abundant capacities to absorb moisture. All of this is linked to no snowfall in Kashmir. Let me add a few more points to this. As if that was not the only case. Why are cold drinks called cold drinks? Because cold water has better gas retention capacity. Molecules are tightly packed. When waters are warmer, it tends to lose gases. All the fossil carbon, the carbon dioxide sequestered in our oceans right from the industrial time, mid 1800s, all of that is being released back into the atmosphere because the waters are warming, releasing more greenhouse gas, heating the air even more. Warmer the gas, warmer the air, more the moisture carrying capacity, even more evaporation. Warm water pumps out more water vapor, again heating up the air, giving it even more warmer characteristic. Warm air keeps on expanding, gaining more water retention capacity. As if that was not the only case, in our permafrost areas, permafrost area means areas just south of your Arctic Circle. Areas just south of your Arctic Circle, no landmass in the southern hemisphere, so permafrost is present in your northern hemisphere. All of this warming is melting the permafrost rapidly. In this area, your partially decaying organic matter was decaying anaerobically, trapped below the ice. Ice is melting. Anaerobic decomposition produces methane. Your entire permafrost area is simply leaking methane all across the area, which is why another potent greenhouse gas is being added in the Arctic area, adding more heat into the atmosphere. No wonder why the Arctic area is warming 4 times faster than the rest of the world. What is the significance of all of this? The earth is warming rapidly. All of these natural and anthropogenic factors combined. In the subtropical high pressure belts, this warm air upon sinking is heating even more, which is why what happened all across the subtropical high pressure belt, we are experiencing something called flash droughts. What are flash droughts? The drought, which usually takes a couple of months, maybe an year to set in, is setting up within a few weeks, which is why in 2023 we observed a large scale melting of glaciers, not just anywhere else in the world, in the third pole area of the world. Third pole means your Hindu Kush, Himalayas, Tibetan plateau. Why is this region called the third pole of the world? Because it is the single largest concentration of fresh water on earth outside of your polar areas. These glaciers are melting rapidly, creating thousands of glacial lakes which can breach at any time, right? Now coming to the impact, all of this warm air present near the surface is not cooling down. What is the impact of this? Let's understand. The reason given for delayed snowfall in the articles is western disturbances, El Nino. Let's understand what is the impact of these things. First of all, what do we mean by western disturbances? The western disturbances of summers and winters are completely different concepts. Western disturbances of winters means temperate cyclones. Temperate cyclones are frontal in nature. They are because of collision of contrasting air masses. This year, what happened? Now let's understand. The green line represents the polar jet stream of the northern hemisphere. Unless and until the air masses invade each other's territories, no meandering of the polar jet stream will take place. This year, what happened? All of the warm air masses were present. The land masses were not cooling up that easily, which is why the polar jet stream meandered a little late. Meandering of the polar jet stream was a little late. What is linked with the meandering polar vortex, or sorry, the meandering polar jet stream? The polar jet stream is restricting within itself the polar vortex. Unless and until the polar jet stream meanders, the polar vortex cannot extend to lower latitudes. This year, the polar jet stream meandered quite late. Only recently, a few days back, the polar vortex eventually split up and one branch descended over North America and Europe. Today, news has been published that another Arctic bomb, Arctic blast has hit North America. What is that? It is simply a bomb cyclone, an aggravated temperate cyclone, predicted well before it even hit. This huge temperate cyclone is the bomb cyclone. The cold front of it is actually the killing area, which is leading to large scale snowstorms today in USA all along the east coast. This bomb cyclone is referred to as Arctic blast this year. Same thing. It is the cold front. Why is it late this year? Because the polar vortex has just descended. Why? Warmer air masses were present. The polar jet stream always remains within the boundary of cold and warm air. The boundary shifted very late. The polar jet stream meandered very late, which is why the polar vortex descended very late. Temperate cyclones were formed quite late. They are already present all throughout the year. Their lower latitudinal extent, it was delayed, which is why the polar vortex has only just descended. One branch on USA, one in Eurasia, which is why these temperate cyclones moving along the polar jet stream, coming from the west to the east, are called western disturbances. Every low velocity cyclonic circulation is called a disturbance. These cyclonic circulations will eventually reach India as well, because the polar vortex has just descended and we will receive snowfall over Kashmir shortly, which is why suddenly we have started experiencing news about cold waves. Because as we all know, what is the last stage of a temperate cyclone? The cold air mass extends to lower latitudes. That is called your cold wave. Cold waves have started being experiencing only now in India, which is why the snowfall in Kashmir is not absent. It is just delayed because of the changing climatic patterns. The changing climatic patterns has shifted the, you can say, duration and timing of winters. Smaller and harsher, confined in a smaller pattern, smaller, you can say, time duration. Right now we are experiencing peak winters in the northern hemisphere. The jet stream has descended to lower latitudes over Eurasia as well. Cold waves have started arriving over the Indian subcontinent as well. Snowfall over Kashmir is delayed, but it is not denied. We will receive snowfall in Kashmir shortly. That is about your western disturbances. Another factor that has been mentioned in your news is with respect to El Nino. What is El Nino? Like I just mentioned earlier during my presentation, it is just the presence of warm water across the central and eastern Pacific. This body of warm water creates havoc across the world. How? It triggers a low pressure system. It triggers a low pressure system on the Peruvian coast because of all that warm water. The impact of that warm water is it creates a coupling effect with the atmospheric circulation. The coupling effect of the atmospheric circulation with the warm water is called your El Nino Southern Oscillation, ENSO. This low pressure because of El Nino across the Peruvian coast creates a divergent wind system east of Australia. This high pressure is ultimately a divergent wind system, a very strong divergent wind system because very strong El Nino. This strong high pressure, this strong surface divergent wind system weakens the mascarene high. What is the mascarene high? It is the patch of high pressure belt found in the South Indian Ocean. Why is this high pressure important? Because it is the source of our monsoon winds. Southeast trade winds deflecting to the left because of Coriolis cross the equator and enter India as southwesterlies. Deflection of Coriolis changes upon crossing the equator. This is a summer phenomena. This leads to no rainfall, no impact in in winters. This El Nino reduces rainfall only in summers. Right now, the main weather phenomena which determines rainfall in India are temperate cyclones. Temperate cyclones were delayed to reach lower latitudes because of warmer air masses. The descent has just begun, which is why we will start receiving snowfall in Kashmir shortly, because temperate cyclones are delayed. They have just begun. Like you can all see what is happening in North America right now. It has just begun. Last year, or rather in December 2022, the same phenomena in USA took place in December 2022. Same phenomena this year is taking place in January 2024. Everything has been shifted just 1 month. We can all wait and watch. Weather forecast also predicts the same. It is eventually going to snow in Kashmir as well. It has been delayed. As far as the reasoning for El Nino is concerned, my opinion is it is not leading to that delayed effect. El Nino plays a major role in suppressing Indian monsoonal winds during summers, right? So the main effect right now, which has led to the delayed, you can say, advent of snowfall over Kashmir, is the delayed splitting of the polar vortex and lowering of the latitudes of temperate cyclones. That is all for this concept. Stay tuned for further information. Take care, everyone.